An everyday catcher? Really?
Forget cable, switch to Frontier. The Fios Triple Play brings dedicated 100% fiber optics to your home. Fios TV, 15x5 internet and digital phone for $119.99 per month with 2-year price protection plan on qualifying service. FrontierPacificNW.com.
We had Tim Kirkshin on the program. In case you missed it, you can go to 710sports.com, which is where you're at right now if you're watching this, and go to the podcast page and listen to our interview with Tim Kirkshin today. But he was talking about Jesus Montero, and we asked what he thought of what he'd seen of him behind the plate so far. It's been very brief, just 2 games, but he said Jesus Montero 3 to 4 years from now will be an everyday catcher. And I'm not saying he won't be, but I would rather he's not. Because the Mariners brought him over for the bat, for the offensive production. And you've seen catchers across the league wear down at the end of a season when they're everyday catchers. You see their offensive numbers start to dip, whether it's Jorge Posada or a Mike Piazza or Joe Mauer, especially a bigger build like Joe Mauer, a guy like Jesus Montero. I don't love that. I would love to see the Mariners find another option as their everyday catcher, have Jesus be a spot guy, but mainly your DH, maybe fills in at first base. I don't love the idea of that.
No, I think that if he's going to play anywhere in the field, it's going to be catcher. I don't think that he's got the athleticism to transition to another position, and I'm talking first base.
You don't think he's athletic enough for first base?
I don't. And I don't think we've seen enough of him, but in just watching his build, the way that he moves his body in the batter's box, the way that he shifts his body around even behind the plate when he's caught, he's a big guy. I think he's going to get bigger. I think he's a guy that will grow into his body and his frame as he gets older and continues to develop and really build a body that's built for a 162-game season. I think that he is going to be a catcher eventually, and I think that that's one of the things the Mariners liked about him when they got him. Offense and his upside there, that's the reason why they pulled the trigger on a blockbuster trade like that. But also, catcher has been a black hole for this organization since Dan Wilson retired. They spent a first-round, number 3 overall pick on Jeff Clement. He was a bust, and he's gone. Rob Johnson came up, and through the minor leagues, he had a terrific minor league career. Dude couldn't hit. Dude couldn't catch. He's gone.
You had Kenji.
He had Kenji Jojima, who you spent a ton of money on, and he was not defensively and really offensive. He just wasn't a good fit at the position. This is a guy who answers those questions. That's one thing. The other thing is that we've seen Jack Zarenzik and Tom McNamara and this staff really stockpile catchers in the draft the last couple of years. And now all of a sudden you look at where they are even at the big league level of the 40-man roster. You've got Montero, you've got Olivo, you've got Jaso, and you've got Adam Moore. That's 4 guys right now that could step into that position and feasibly play every day if they're going to perform offensively. That different conversation. But all of a sudden around the deadline, those become players that you can start to look at that have increased value based on the demand, and catchers, that's the hot commodity in baseball. So I think that the deeper they are, they've got a guy that's an everyday player there and is one of your offensive pieces. I think that they could be in a great position for a number of reasons as an organization with him catching and being that middle of the order bat.
Yeah, if he comes close to what they project as his potential offensively, I personally would rather he's not your catcher. Just because I want to see him produce that way throughout the entire season.
Well, Buster Posey last year. I mean, you can't take that one bat out of a lineup like San Francisco's the way that they had to last year. Jesus Montero, I think even this year, that'd be a big hole for them to fill offensively based on the projections and hitting him in anywhere between 4, 5, and 6.
They don't have enough offense to allow for him to take, if he becomes the offensive player we think. They don't have the luxury of other offensive players that can pick up his slack if he starts to tail off at the end of the season because he starts getting worn out catching. So, personally, I'd rather he didn't catch, but 3 to 4 years from now, we'll see.